Yeah, I guess we'll call the meeting to order. I need a motion to accept the minutes of July 8th, 2020.
So moved.
Need a second?
Mark, where is the thing? This?
See Wednesday, 6:38, but one bottom.
Russ, I need a second from one of them.
Okay, Phil or Jennifer, can you give a second to open the meeting?
Second, I'm having a hard time hearing Peter, though, just FYI.
How's that? Just say something.
Calling the meeting to order, I need to accept the minutes of July 8th and 2020, and I needed a second on that.
This is Jennifer, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Passed. Thank you. Any communication reports?
Yep, so we have the operating reports for July and August, so I'll go through them quick. Any questions, go ahead and ask. Removal efficiencies for BOD and suspended solids for both months were over 99% each of them. We were under the nitrogen permit for both months, 36 pounds under in July, 44 in August. We were under E. coli and phosphorus was good as well. Any questions on that?
Does that mean we're making money on the nitrogen?
These months, yes. It'll cancel out some of the ones we went over, but we're starting to get to the point where we're kind of getting a balance with it. So we're working on some of the process using that micro C, and then some of the programming. We just had to finish the blower programming first because we couldn't really dial it in until it was fixed. So hopefully it's going to stay around this.
And is that removal efficiency, is that about the best that you're gonna get, Mark? 87%?
I would say 85 to 90 is about what you're going to see here. I think that 88% or 87.6 is the highest we've ever seen here. And you're under the permit at that point. So in any aspect, it's pretty much as good as you need to be under. But I would say just for experience-wise, yeah, you're probably not going to see much more than that. Yeah.
Mark, I've been getting complaints about the smell. I don't know.
Did you get a couple?
Yeah,
It could have been because it was just so hot and humid the past 2 months. Because I mean, our odor control's been working too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Russ
Oh.
the other day that, at my office, there was.
Yeah, it might have just been a fluke, the way it was like settling and stuff, because when it's humid out, sometimes it gets worse, but we can look at the odor control, see if we can turn it up more.
yeah, I got a couple of people.
Yeah, you can see, look at the CFM and stuff.
Okay.
Not like the days when Hudson's Plantation used to complain us. And there's
Devonwood.
Devonwood.
I had a guy come in from Devonwood when we were still doing the composting.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably like October 4, so it was probably June of '05. And it was not a pleasant visit.
Yeah.
He was not, I mean, he was more like on the end of like Tunx's Village side. So it was like blowing right through the stores.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he's like, I went to his house and it was like, oh man, it's like you were sitting right out here.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the winds were just blowing just right. And it was
Yeah, there's some days here, like we notice it, but for the most part, it's not too bad. But when it's really humid sometimes and there's no wind, sometimes it goes where it takes it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can do so much, but it's difficult sometimes. We are going to add some onto the primer to try to help a little bit more down there too, so it may help.
That was when Michael Tommaso was complaining, because they're building the wedding,
right.
the venue then, and they had the golfers out there, and the golfers were going to play golf. And
Yeah,
then they had the weddings with 200 people.
they weren't happy.
That was not a good
And Willie gave me all, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was funny.
they're saying, you spent all this money and you still gotta smell this?
Now, for the record, some good-looking gentleman kept saying, we're gonna spend a lot of money, it's still gonna be a treatment plant. I just want to be clear on that. We can try to tell people, we did spend an exorbitant amount of money, well worth it, and don't regret it, anything we did, but it's a treatment plant.
Unless you cover
It is what it
tanks
is.
completely, it's really hard to make it impossible to smell it, yeah.
You need a dome here.
That's what I'm saying, they do it, but it's.
The public needs to get educated.
Right. No, and it's like, this is probably the worst month.
Yeah.
So August, end of July to through August with the humidity.
Yeah,
And it should, once, the humidity breaks after tomorrow and Friday, which should be back.
Cools off, it gets
But
a lot better.
so then it basically, everything dissipate. It allows the atmosphere to open up.
But as far as identifying the sources of it, I mean, do we have a pretty good handle on where?
It's either dewatering or primaries, because any smell that we would get a complaint isn't like aeration tanks, are more of like an actual like a soil, like a dirt, almost kind of garden smell. And the finals and UV don't smell like anything. So if it's anything, it would be primaries or dewatering, which dewatering has the odor control running. Primary, we're actually going to add. We had an old part from Batterson Park, so we're just going to retrofit it and put it up there because it's free. So that should help too.
Have the police departments ever complained to you? Because I know that one of the days with the snow, that
Yeah.
they're shooting here. and
Yeah, no, they
They heard all
usually.
that.
They've never said
The
much,
bullets.
really. It's
Yeah.
funny because because we mow down there, it doesn't go that way. It almost goes towards towards your office all the time. But
It goes the wrong way that we would like it to go.
yeah, just blow it in the field.
doesn't go where you want it.
No,
Okay, project engineer report?
Okay,
Public Works?
I'll just touch on some of the pump station stuff. The Avon 21 Crocus Lane flow meter vaults, those were calibrated. They're both under the permissible errors, 5%. I believe they were 1% and 2%. We put a new pump in West Farms, so both have been replaced, and we also have a critical spare, and that was after the event last year. Batterson Park, I will touch on. I'll go through the pictures, so I'll just skip that right there. In Tungus Road, we're putting on the last INC control for the pump station upgrade. For the collection system in Batterson Park, on August 26th, we found a leak in the one lift station. It was small, but we wanted Savvy and Son to inject it just so we could get a solution for any of the infiltration, because obviously that station is below the stream elevation there. So we injected the bottom ring, and we also did the second ring as a caution. And it's kind of important to note that they coat the whole wet well with this epoxy, and that alone would have fixed it, but we injected them just to be safe anyways. It's not anything uncommon really. And then working on finding a new pole for the RTU unit, so it won't be on the roof, and we extended the sidewalks.
One thing just to talk about with that leak, what happened was the conceal, the joint seal, something didn't sit right. Oldcastle came out, they paid for that original epoxy injection on that first layer, on the first seam. Mark and I talked, and as part of the water infiltration, they own that. We had already had in the project in our contract to put like a 1/4 inch
Yeah, 125 on the
seal.
whole thing,
on the whole inside of the pump station.
and that's in milliliters, so.
They proposed, they put another 125 millimeters on there as part of, hey, here's what we're doing for belts and suspenders. I think I was pretty clear with them that I'm saying we're spending $2 million. I don't want this thing to leak. This is part of the reason we're replacing this. And Oldcastle acknowledged it and said, yep, this is what we'll do. Savvy is like, this will stop the leaks. It won't happen. Mark and I talked, and we said, for the money, it was about $8,000 to do that epoxy injection in next seam, which is about another 4 feet up. I said, $8,000 on $2 million, why, we'd be dumb not to do it while we're here. So we did that, and we have a 20-year guarantee, and then they come out and inspect it every, I think it's 5 years, 6 years. And then if they have to do anything, then it gets another 10, if they find something, there'll be another 10-year warranty after that. So we'll have a 30-year guarantee at a minimum for having any water infiltration. So I think we're in good shape with that.
And the only other thing was, I'm just gonna hit the major ones for the plant upgrade. In July, we figured out the root cause of the blower issue. It was basically they had to reload a couple set points in it. And we think they were lost in one of the electrical storms that we had. So we reloaded them, restarted everything, and then we're starting to dial in the denitrification with that, which helps with the nitrogen costs. And that's pretty much about it.
So was this an especially busy month or?
There was quite a bit because we had that one Isaiah storm. So, I mean, just to touch on that, we had generators out. We were on generator power here for 5 days, but we obviously still did really well. We didn't have any permit issues. We went through 2,500 gallons of fuel, but we had no blips in the stations or the plant, which was good because I know a lot of plants did have issues. So it worked well. But yeah, it was busy.
What's your fuel here for running the generators?
How much we use diesel here?
Diesel.
And then I think 13 out of the stations are natural gas, 3 are diesel. So
And all those costs were just submitted to FEMA.
Yep.
As part of the whole declaration.
Really?
So Hartford County needs $3.4 million worth of costs in order to get reimbursed. And we are, Farmington ourselves, I think we're somewhere around $500,000. So just under half, something like that. So I find it hard to believe that with all the towns in Hartford County, we can't come up with another $3 million. You know, so.
Now, does every station have generating power?
everyone except, well, South Road and Maple Ridge will take them out too. Maple Ridge has a little portable one.
Yeah.
South Road has one we take out there.
That's
But
the thing out.
but other than that, they all have generators.
Yeah.
So, and then when we do have that many on, like there was one point we had 15 out of 17 on generators. We have guys working 3 shifts because we're not going to leave that many just running if something happens. So, but we did well through the whole thing. So
When we had that power outage, did that affect anything? Or-
No, for the storm?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, everything was fine.
no, that's what I was
Everything's
referring to.
generated.
We did well on it actually. So
So you guys lost power here then?
we were out here for 5 days. It was
Oh, right
the
there.
4th to the 9th. It came on that Saturday to Sunday. Yeah,
Saturday.
Late
afternoon,
that
I think.
Saturday afternoon.
And the mobile station had power.
Yeah,
it was frustrating. I had DEP and they had the emergency center calling us 3 times a day because they were in contact with Eversource. And they're like, you got power, and we're like, nope.
Yeah.
So it was frustrating, but I mean, we did well. And the important part was we didn't have any process issues. So that's what you don't want to have when you get the storm. So
I was lucky I only lost it for half a minute.
really?
Yeah.
You never said anything. We
Over
could have
by
come
the
over.
hospital,
Yeah.
over by the hospital to get it.
yeah, it's funny because we were out at Patrick Flood.
No, we were out of state, but we didn't lose it.
Oh, that's good. Did you lose it?
We lost it at the house, not at the office.
Yeah.
So we had it at the office, but then we lost internet.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have
Yeah,
internet at the
yeah.
office.
They didn't reduce the rate though,
No.
they still charge you.
Yeah, for the days you don't have it.
What else we got?
Oh, and I did just include some of the pictures on the back. I'm sure you guys looked through already, but the first one was just when they were taking out the old station. You can see the old pump chamber. That's where we used to go and check the pumps. Kind of the next 2 pictures are how they assembled it. And if you see, you can actually see the con seal on the sides there. And that's where we had the small leak. So I included those just so you can kind of get an idea third page, you can see after it's epoxy coated, it's that whitish gray color. You can barely see the rings in there because they were injected and then covered at 250 mLs, which is almost, I believe that's what, half an inch, a third of an inch. It's thick for epoxy. I mean, you can pretty much hit it with a pick and nothing's gonna happen. And that's the cover going on, our fuel tank, and then the new sidewalk. That was the most recent picture I took of that going in as well. So,
Yeah, I went by one day and I saw the top down, then I saw it off again.
What's that cover weight?
the whole station's 220,000 pounds, or 197.
Yeah,
So the top's probably 20. Is that it?
Oh,
20 ton.
It's 100 tons total, so.
Let's think of it, say.
yeah.
No, what we found was our original drawings of the pump station show a slab, but didn't show a thickness. So basically 3/4 of the new station sit on the slab that was there. The slab is 18 inches thick. So we're like, okay, keep digging, keep digging. It was, I think it was 18 to 24 inches.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of fluctuated, but I couldn't, we were like, wow, that's, and then they had fill on top of that, and then another slab with some I-beams that carried the wet well. And the I-beams were as long as the bottom slab, but sitting on dirt. So we didn't understand that configuration.
So did that get removed?
That all got taken out down to the
Yeah,
slab.
slab.
When did they build that, Russ? When was that?
That was
69.
68, 69.
69, yeah.
Yeah.
And the wall.
Yeah.
The wall in.
Probably, right.
How about our favorite topic, Avon?
Avon. Avon is moving. We hired Andrew Lord as our attorney because of the whole quote unquote conflict of interest with Burlington. Because they have Halloran and Sage as well as a town attorney. So we moved forward with Andrew. And basically we got to the point where we were going to go to arbitration. Andrew said, I'm just a one-man guy. That's too big of an undertaking. We talked with Halloran Sage, and Mike Ziska is their wastewater attorney. He then took it over because Halloran Sage has more horsepower, more people able to do this. And with him, we rewrote the agreement, which is, checking to see who was in attendance. So the agreement has been rewritten very well. It covers a lot of the basics that we need to protect ourselves. One of the bigger things is anytime for a peak flow, when they send more than what their allotted capacity is on a rainy, wet time period, they will pay a penalty for that. Where right now, there's a penalty clause. However, the penalty is based on the monthly average flow. So they have 600,000 gallons per day capacity allotted to them that they paid for. They could send us 10 days at 1.2 million. They pay for the gallons they send us, but they're taking away capacity from our plant, and then it increases our treatment costs.
And even this year, to put it in perspective, they were hitting 50 or 30 in the spring, and we had no flow this year.
Right.
So
Now there's a penalty clause in there for daily flow. For anything exceeding the 600,000 gallons every day. So we're waiting to hear back on that. And I figured by the time October came, I'd have everything here from the attorney. I would have asked Mike Ziska to come answer any questions. We'll have an executive session and go through all that. And basically, that we're coming to the end, and one way or the other, we're at the end. So I think it would be a good time for Mike to come in and answer any questions that you may have, or explain where we are in the process and go from there.
When does the other participants in our plant start pulling up the money? When does that start happening?
Probably next week, will be next month. Joe's sending out the letters now. Because they closed on the loan, did all that. And I just talked with him today, and those letters went out today or tomorrow. So,
Yeah, October, so,
yeah.
So, I mean, rattle off, I mean, who get,
Avon was about little over 7 million that they owe. That'll be over a 20-year period. Burlington was under 2.4 million, something in that range. Yukon was a little over $1 million, and Canton was like $3,000
$3,000, that's
because they don't send us any flow. You know, it is what it is. So, and they diverted even more flow. They changed around. They sent the shops at Canton, all that flow that comes up from north of 44 that would typically come to us. They diverted it. I want to say a year or two. You
That was
started
a little while ago.
maybe 2 years ago. They diverted it, and it goes to their plant now. So that was the majority of the flow that was coming to us, and even that wasn't much.
so where is Burlington as far as agreeing to any of this?
Well, Burlington is a little different situation. They didn't agree that they had put in 1 meter up on West Side Boulevard, which is not what we agreed to. We agreed to putting in 3 meters at 3 different locations. We would then take that flow, we have to put in 4 meters because Unionville, Farmington drops into this area as well. So we put a meter in above that to deduct our flow out. We would come up with a daily flow rate per house, multiply that by the number of houses that are not being metered to come up with a daily flow, which we ended up doing. We ended up putting in temporary meters at all these locations, came up with a flow rate, and applied that to the housing. And they still haven't put their meters in. So they put 1 meter in. The 1 meter was up on West Side Boulevard, which is one of the higher points in their sewer shed. And they said to us that would be representative of the whole sewer shed. I think that one was the lowest flow meter
Yeah,
out of the 4. So we've still got a ways to go with them, but at least we have the metering system in.
Now, did we actually share the values that we got?
Yep, that's in a letter that's going to them. So, and we used Dave Prickett Engineering, DPC, to do that metering.
Mhm.
It was, I think it was $21,000. So that will be part of their bill as well. So and they were up nearly 300,000. They have 300,000 gallons of capacity per day.
Mhm.
And I want to say they were around 230, 240, something like that
And again, in the dry season,
during,
and most days we're up 150,
yeah,
200, something like that, range,
yeah.
or 150.
So they were during the dry season where we've had a drought and no winter, their flow is still up. So it is what it is, and we'll keep working on that. I don't know why they just don't want to spend the money is what it comes down to, bottom line. So,
But I mean, has there been back and forth, or are they sort of just ignoring us?
yeah, they're ignoring us. Yeah, and Andrew's been trying to get in touch with their attorney and nothing. So, in other words, I'm going on vacation. I'll get back to you. And it is what it is. So, we had to do something.
Yep.
To come up with the flow, and it's fair. It's reasonable. It dictates the flow that represents the flow that actually they send to us, and there's not much to argue. It is what it is. So we just keep trudging along and doing what we got to do. So you and I, talking with the attorneys, and they're like, "You're doing the right thing," and it was on advice, and he was like, "Let's put meters in, so at least we have an actual representative number, and it's not any
Can't
guesswork."
argue with it, yeah.
Right. How are you going to argue the actual meter reading? So that's what we did, and we'll continue to do that and go from there. So I just don't understand why we're going to keep billing you money for the meter reading, 1 year is gonna pay for 2 times the number of meters you need to put in. It doesn't, it just doesn't make sense.
And then we put the meters in, they haven't even tried to put anything to determine the flow, so it kind of shows.
They never made that, they put the 1 meter in, but never connected the telemetry to here, because that was more money. And part of it, I have their meeting minutes, that they basically said, we chose the Cadillac of meters and the most expensive, when it was their consultant who came to our office and said, you have A, B, or C. A won't do the job, it won't do the telemetry, it doesn't have the capability to connect with the technology of the plant, so that doesn't work. B had another reason why it wouldn't do the job.
One, he couldn't do the flow rate or something, it was
Right,
too far off.
Too far off or something. C was, and this, I mean, literally what it was, like, we didn't, and C can do, it could hit the flow rate, it's the same telemetry, computer software, that's the one we go. Everyone agreed, their town, first selectman was there, their WPCA chairman was there, Jim Griffon was there, their consultant was there, their consultant presented to us, Mark, I think it was you, Mark, you, Willie, and I.
Yep.
And Kathy Egan was there, and our attorney, and we said, okay, that's the best one, but that'll do everything, let's go with that. Well, then they turned around and said, oh, Farmington picked the most expensive. Oh,
Everybody's on the same page.
they never once talked about money.
Yeah.
Never once did the Fuss and O'Neill engineer say, oh, well, this is the Cadillac, and this is a Volkswagen. Never once, that never even came into play.
It was the only one that worked.
So it would have been two. The second one was, in order to make the computers talk to each other, it would have been very expensive to add this other connection piece.
Sometimes the telemetry is more than the meter is to actually get it, so they didn't want that.
It was just an oddball situation, but, so they put 1 meter in, and that was up on the high side on Westlake Boulevard, and nothing ever came. So
And they had no trouble with our readings.
they haven't said anything.
I'm just wondering. They come back with something else.
They can come back with whatever they want, but
Meters and
the
meters.
meter, right, the reading is the reading. I don't know what they're gonna come back with now. So.
I know. We only had 2, lateral reports. What's that, Main Street, collect,
The building permit, and then Walnut Street. I think Bruce said half was paid and half paid at the prior, right?
Yeah, they came in, they asked if they could,
Okay.
because of the cost, if they could pay at the time of permit and pay at the time of CO. So we won't give them a CO until they pay their, right, because it's a duplex. So they
Oh,
basically pay for one, connected both, and at the time of the CO, we'll give them the other, we'll pay for the other portion.
Oh, and I saw that Bridgewater's all paid up, the development,
Bridgewater, Bridgehampton,
Bridgehampton, excuse me, yes.
paid up on what?
Is that done? I mean, is it completely paid up on all their fees there for the sewer connections?
No,
Did I read that wrong, or where did I?
unless something changed that I didn't know about. They, I think they still owe us some. Bridgehampton.
Where did I read that?
Oh, yeah, for the final phase, I'm sorry, there's a couple things going on with Bridgehampton, we have a bond and stuff for work to be done. So yeah, their agreement has been paid for the sewer for the final phase.
For the sewer?
Yes.
Has that been?
Yeah. Not the subdivision
The
itself,
subdivision stuff is still
it's still outgoing, yeah.
out there, okay.
Exactly. Yep.
But the sewer portion's
All
out there.
taken care of, correct.
Okay, so that's what taken care of.
Yep.
So on our side, we're all right, but on the town's, but on the rest of the
Right.
town, there's
We're still working with them.
struggling with it.
so they're telling me that Madison Park should be done in October?
I would probably say a little before now, right?
Yeah, because they're coming when the 24th,
So
25th.
I talked to Justin today and he told us the 24th is basically the date we want to start testing everything. We should be good to go after that.
Yeah.
So
They're gonna come out and test the pumps, test everything and do a walkthrough on
to
it.
say a week or two, probably first week of October should be good.
Yeah. And we've had a complaint from the neighbor directly behind us on Ingleside, Hamilton Way,
Yeah,
Ingleside,
yeah.
off of Hamilton Way. The guy said to come when we found that slab on a Friday with the I-beams I was telling you about.
Yeah.
We're like, you gotta take that out, we gotta find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Another 2 or 3, 4 feet down, I mean, the material was just slop anyway.
We know
They-
that.
We found the slab, but they came in on Saturday because the station was coming on Tuesday.
Yeah, there's no other day.
Right, it was like,
And if we had to pour a slab, it would have,
right, we would have delayed things if we had to pour in a slab. So anyway, she was not happy that they worked on a Saturday
Worked on
from
a Saturday.
7 to noon.
Yeah.
And over there with the bypass pumping, the smell is not so great because you have an open manhole. And the amount of flow that comes in over there's a lot of exhaust. So I went over, I lost a few pounds and apologized and, you know, she wanted notice and stuff, so I've been keeping her up to date with what's going on and we could, so. I didn't think twice about working on Saturday. But I went over on Monday, took my licks and kept on working, so. She's fine.
Is there any,
Yeah, but you can work on Saturday from 7
Oh,
to noon.
7 to 6 you can work.
Yeah, 7 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't even, didn't think twice about it, but it's
Right.
literally like, it's about 250 feet through the woods. And here on Saturday morning at 7 AM,
She was calling.
she called
How'd she
about
get?
8 o'clock. Email, first was, it was all email.
That's all, yeah.
And she was nice enough to put all the higher up senators on. She didn't even, she bypassed the town council. She went right to the senator. Well, it comes out her husband's fraternity brother is some big wheel on the DNC, Democratic Party or something in the state.
Yeah.
So
So she got Eric Slap and.
Derek Slap was on it, and the guy from the Britain, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And truth be told, Derek was the only one to reply. Everybody else kind of, I don't know if they replied to her, but they didn't reply to us, so.
Yeah.
She put Kathy and I on it.
Yeah.
So I went over on Monday and got my introduction.
you bring your picnic basket?
No, I brought a sponge so I could sit on it after.
I think I've been on Hamilton Way once in my life. I drove up the street when it was first built.
Yeah.
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 Take a blanket and dog. There's nothing to it.
And I couldn't even, how many houses are on this street? I couldn't even tell you.
6 or 8 maybe.
maybe a 7, there's not a lot.
Yeah, yeah. They're all nice homes.
Oh, yeah, no, Nelson did that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. And I apologize. But I didn't, and I, was honest. I didn't think twice about it. Just a typical Saturday.
Right.
But I'm not living 250 feet from the pump station, so it was fine. We got through it.
Okay. Do you have any other unfinished business we have to take care of? Nothing?
We do.
What?
We have to recognize Mr. Foote for 25 years of service to the WPCA. Just finished it up.
Congrats, Jim.
Yep. So,
With that, geez, you must have started when you were 10, Jim. Geez, Wilbur must have only been 75. So-
Wow.
Oh, Jennifer lost out again.
Like a birthday cake.
Yeah,
Wow.
there we go.
Oh, I didn't know this was part of the 25 years.
Hard to say.
Where's the gold watch?
Yeah, Peter's not giving that up.
So Phil and Jennifer, we bought a cake for Jim's 25th year being on the WPCA. And just want to say thank you. It's been a
That's
lot of-
awesome.
Yeah, look forward to many more years with it. Learned a lot from you and I've enjoyed all my 16 years with it. It's gone quick.
Yeah, it has gone quick.
So we want to just say thank you and appreciate your time, and you got to be one of the longest standing volunteers in town, I would think.
I don't know, but they signed me up for another 5 years.
Yeah, it's good.
I think on the committees, Jim, that you gotta be there. I don't know of, I can't think of anyone else that's, had that consecutive run.
Yeah.
The people that have served and then they came back, but I don't know if anybody has had a consecutive run of 25 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I won't be coming back.
So, anyway, thank you very much.
Jennifer, if you were home, I'd deliver you a piece of cake, but you're not home.
I know, but you know, I'll for the next 25th, Jim, but your 50th, I'll be there for that cake.
Maybe at your 25th.